It all started from the moment that either side decided to put their hands on their loved one. That's where the mistakes started. And however long they've been together, literally, however long they've been together, this seed has just been growing. We got to go into this next story, and this is a very, very interesting story indeed. There is an OnlyFans model that took her boyfriend's life. I'll just say that by using a knife multiple times to his body. It sucks. I have to use all these dang keywords and you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But we definitely got to talk about this because this is a weird and crazy story. And there's a possibility she might be walking like with no bail whatsoever. So we got to talk about this. And this is the story of these two. Her name is Courtney Tailor. And his name is Christian Obumseli. Nice looking couple. She is an OnlyFans model. Well, she's also on IG and all that stuff. She has a very, very successful IG channel. Where she makes a lot of content, models and stuff like that. She's an OnlyFans model. She's an IG model. She's got 2 million followers on IG, and a lot of her stuff is what else do you think? She's an IG model. So a lot of it's scantily clad and doing what she does in photos. So we need to do this. We need to talk about this because this is a wild story, y'all. And from my understanding, from what you see on Twitter and Instagram, the stories that we're hearing about both of them and the stories that we're hearing about their relationship, at least on the surface, they're saying that they are two very loving, wonderfully happy people, that they were very happy together. But this had a very interesting turn of events. So let's go here. Man dies after being stabbed in luxury Miami condo. Girlfriend has been detained. Now, what's interesting is that they have not released her name, but everybody knows who, like family and all that, have already exposed and put her name out there in these streets. So we got to talk about this. So an investigation is underway after a man was fatally stabbed inside a luxury apartment in Miami, in a luxury apartment building in Miami. Officers responded to one Paraiso residences in 3131 Northeast Avenue in the Edgewater neighborhood around 5 p.m. on Sunday, a spokesperson for the Miami Police Department told Newsweek. On arrival, they found a 27-year-old Christian his nickname is Christian Toby Obumseli, had been stabbed once in the chest. He was transported to Jackson Memorial Hospital's trauma center where he died. The police spokesperson said Obumseli's girlfriend was detained at the scene and later taken to a mental health institution under Florida's Baker Act, which allows a police officer, judge, or mental health professional to involuntarily commit a person for a 72-hour evaluation. Her identity was not released. We already know her name, though. Like I said, her name is Courtney Tailor. Instagram OnlyFans model Courtney Tailor. This is obviously Christian right here, Obumseli. We know that there was a physical altercation between them before he was stabbed. The police spokesperson said, adding that she had been the first to call 911. The case is still under investigation. So I have more. So we got to go into this. They said that the friends told NBC Miami that he lived in the building with his girlfriend, and that they had moved to Florida from Texas sometime in the past couple years. These are our two friends we've gone on vacation with, we go to dinners with, we go out on the town with them, and it seems like it's straight out of a crime documentary. Josh Ramsey told the station. We would have never guessed it would have escalated to this point. I think I speak for the whole friend group. We are just shocked, very distraught about this. So crazy, right? Um, and let me throw up this super chat really quick because I don't want to miss it. Laura Estrada, can we celebrate Ketanji Brown Jackson's confirmation? Yes, we will definitely do something with that in a little bit. For right now, I got to tell this story. So I appreciate the $5 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yes, we will talk about that here in a little while. Okay, so obviously this is a terrible situation. This is what's going on. Now I have a few other things from Hollywood Unlocked. I'm sorry. Now family seeks answers after man is stabbed taken by influencer girlfriend who is now claiming mental illness. Now here's the thing though, just to go back on this here really, really quick. Given the fact that they claimed that this was under Florida's Baker Act, basically saying that, hey, if she is coming off like she wants to unalive herself or do something heinous or harmful to herself, they basically are issuing like, we need to take her in because we don't want her to get hurt. But we all seen Jussie Smollett basically say, I am not Sean Kingston, in hopes that maybe he would get a better place to stay so that he's out of he's not in harm's way of criminals and thugs. That's what I think with Juicy Smollett. So I feel like this is also the same thing where she did what she did, but at the same time, there's also the shock of doing said thing. I'm sure this woman never thought that this would have ever happened, that she would ever have somebody perish by her own hands. There's also the shock of that and all. God knows what it is. From what they say, they loved each other very much. But this turned deadly. And now this man is no longer here. So God knows what's going on in her mind, what's happened. But at the same time, it is kind of BS that she is claiming mental health issues. If it wasn't mentally inspired, if that makes any sense. Because if she's just enraged about something, that doesn't automatically say that is mental health. But she could be crying wolf, or she could very well be shook to the core because of taking this young man's life. But let's get into it. So a family seeking answers after a young man is taken in his Miami home by his girlfriend. Christian Obunselli was reportedly unalived by his girlfriend, Courtney Tailor, who boasts on OnlyFans and 2 million Instagram followers. So she has a lot of followers. Seriously. Zozo Bob just said, okay, the police determined initially if you should be Baker acted. You know what? And that's true too. But you could pull an act for sure. You can amp it up. You see what I'm saying? You can sit there and go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You can do that all day long. And then all of a sudden they go, wait a second. Hold up. No, we're worried about her harming herself, so we're going to do the Baker Act. That could be it too. She could put on an act. You see what I'm saying? Because she doesn't want to be in a room full of riffraff. That could be it too. She don't want to be in a room full of criminals, so she's scared. But then at the same time, she could be literally losing her mind given the fact that she'd done something that I don't think she ever thought would ever happen. Okay? Police are calling the incident a domestic dispute, and Taylor is being held for mental evaluation. So she's being held for 72 hours for doing this act and all that. And It's nuts. So there is a Twitter feed that I want to show you guys here revolving around this. Just showing some photos. This is a girl that's friends with the couple. Actually, was very good friends apparently. Very good friends with Courtney, but now she's sitting there going like, I can't believe that this is even going down. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to go into that here in a second. But the incident happened Sunday night at their apartment. The Miami police officials said the officers responded to a report of a man being, attacked or, stabbed at the building. And upon arrival, they found this 27-year-old victim. I don't know if you could say victim. She was the attacker, allegedly, who was taken to a local hospital where, oh, I'm sorry. They found this 27-year-old victim. They're talking about Christian, who was taken to the local hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. And this is terrible, y'all. The fact that he is, like I said, the fact that he is not here anymore. And it was at the hands of someone he loves and trusts. That's messed up. That's really, really messed up. So CBS 4 spoke with Obumseli's close friends who said he was caring and had a great spirit. And of course, there's a GoFundMe I'm going to show you guys here in a second. But let me show you guys this feed or this thread. So this is from one of her friends. It says, it seems as though this story is being silenced. Courtney Tailor took her boyfriend's life Sunday night in their Miami apartment. She's been Baker acted, so the news can't release her name. It's not confirmed whether or not she took him in his sleep or if he was awake. And this was during an altercation. What we do know is that she did, S-word him, and took his life. Please don't support her in buying any of her content. And as the story unfolds, we will share more. Just wanted to make sure the media doesn't make Christian out to be the bad guy. We're speaking on this because my boyfriend and I were closest to them in friendship, and after talking to the family or to their family, it seems as though they were in a dark. It seems as though that they were in the dark about how toxic the relationship was, and all the abuse that had happened leading up to this. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So then whatever he did, or whatever that was going on in this relationship, turns, because now they're saying that there's a possibility that this relationship was toxic and it had been like this for a while. And yes, Black Twitter is going to town on this right now. Hence the reason why I'm bringing it up. Because I saw this in the morning and I was like, you know what? We need to talk about this and I already know where people want to go, the route people want to go down. And the thing is that I just think it's very frustrating when you see a relationship of any kind, and it always has to be the thing of, oh, it was a toxic, bad relationship. There was abuse and all that stuff. And it's like, well, then who did who? Who was the bad guy? Or was it both of them abusing each other? But when they see a couple like this, let me pull this up. It's very interesting. It's very quick for everyone to go and assume it's the guy. But we don't know. It's the guy who's the bad guy. But we don't know. And yes, hey, watch this. Apparently he pulled up they have found some pretty messed up tweets where he's like talking down and talking down on black women, praising white women, all that stuff. And it's bad. It's bad. It's not good. It's not good. And the fact that he died at the hands of this white woman in which he was praising and talking down on black women, it's just not it's not a good look, period. Not a good look. And it's a little ironical, don't you think? But nevertheless, still, no matter what, it's still a person that's no longer here because he chose the wrong person. He was in the wrong relationship. Whether this woman was white or black, Asian, doesn't matter what shade she was in, still, he chose the wrong person to be in a relationship with. And now this woman could walk, allegedly, because of whatever claims she wants to have. Now, there's all these videos or these photos from him. This is all allegedly from his stuff. The way black girls disgrace themselves on TV. Once again, I'm tired of these black girls in my government class. Like, wow. It's bad. It's bad. To me, sounds like somebody who might not be, I mean, he's from Nigeria. He's a Nigerian man. And that's the thing, though. I've noticed that there is a lot of BS with, there's a lot of BS with black Americans and then African immigrants. And there's such an interesting divide where you got them sitting there calling their own people, their own race, just they happen to be born in America, throwing out the N-word and calling them, like, downgrading and talking them down, using that racist rhetoric at these other black men and women that just happen to be born in America. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I've noticed that. I have noticed that a little bit, that there seems to be some sort of righteousness because they came from the motherland and we all just happen to be born here in America. And so next thing you know, they just talk ish. And so there's such an interesting dissonance between natural born black Americans and immigrants that, African born immigrants that come to this country. It's so weird. It's so wild. But this man was talking some serious ish in these tweets. Real talk. Found a woman, fell in love with her. She happened to be white. And then she takes his life. Takes it. And now she's in a psych ward right now. Basically a 5150 type thing. Baker acted because she took this man's life. And God knows what happened. God knows how toxic, as this woman has said, their friend, the family, talking to their family, it seems as though they were in the dark about how toxic their relationship was and all the abuse that happened leading up to this. It makes you wonder what was going on, who did what, and why was this going down? How long was this quote unquote abuse happening? It does make you wonder, but these are some photos of them all together. Hanging out and having a good old time, doing whatever they needed to do. But yes, still a very messed up story. And no matter where you sit on this story, if you're going after this because of him, being with this white woman and he was sitting there dogging black women in tweets, I get that. It's terrible and it's ironic as hell that he is no longer here. after talking down on black people in general, American-born black people. And then all of a sudden his white girlfriend kills him. It is very, very interesting. But nonetheless, I do find it very strange that this woman took this man's life. Took his life. And it says it right here in the article. Let me blow this up so you can see it in the nosebleed seats. It says it right here. She allegedly takes his life and is currently facing no charges. Why? That's what I'd like to know. Why? Why is she not facing any charges? She was there. She's the only person there. She did it. She took him. So on. She took the guy's life. And yet she's still going to be able to walk out? She's still going to be able to kick rocks? Man, let's check out this news clip.
Questions after a stabbing death in Miami.
A man allegedly killed by his own girlfriend. So why hasn't she been charged?
Yeah.
Local 10's Nella Sabovic live with details on this. Nella.
The big question is here, was this done in self-defense? Miami police investigators say that this is an ongoing and very active investigation.
Okay. I'm sorry. The right then and there, that's when I start getting hit. That's when I start getting triggered. So you're telling me that just because, see, this is the part that's very frustrating to me, because you see, I'm going to throw their photo up again. You see, and it looked like they were a lovely couple, but hey, you see a couple like this, and she could be standing over his body, covered in red, holding the weapon, screaming, I did it. I lost my mind. I had to take him. I had to. Whatever she said, whatever crazy stuff that comes out of her mouth. And instantly they go, well, hold on. Maybe he was attacking you. Well, hold on. Maybe there's another reason here. Are you serious? What? So she's not, what? Well, we need to find out what's really going on here, because we don't know what's really going on. It could very well be something happened inside the house. Like, she murdered a dude. She took the dude's life. What more investigation do you need to do? Period. She could walk. She could walk. Very interesting, y'all. Like I said, this is when privilege seems to start coming into play here, y'all. Wow. I didn't even get, 15 seconds in this bitch? And I'm already going, what? Come on, man. You're telling me. Or she's at the police precinct, right? Getting her fingerprints and all that stuff done. And she's, and they're going, well, wait a second. Hold up. Now that could be a 5150. Let's Baker acted her ass. It's okay. What? You took the man's life. Where's the investigation? She could just walk? Ay.
Meantime, we spoke with a group of friends that knew this couple very well, and they detail a rocky relationship.
Of course.
It's just heartbreaking.
That doesn't mean anything, though. Do you understand that, y'all? I hope you guys understand. I'm not sitting here praising DVs. I'm not praising abuse. I'm not praising any of that. But you can't automatically say, "Oh, yeah, no, he did that." And then suddenly it's like, "Oh, he did? Okay, then this is fine." No, he is dead. He is no longer here because of her hand, not the other way around. And now they're going to sit here and say that this, I guarantee you this is going to spin into a self-defense situation. Watch.
Everyone is just so devastated.
This trio was very close to 27-year-old Christian Obumseli and his girlfriend, who they've identified as 25-year-old Courtney Clenney, an OnlyFans model and Instagram influencer. So when police reported that Obumseli was fatally stabbed by Clenney on Sunday inside their Miami apartment, the friends were left speechless. They portray a very violent relationship at the hands of only one person.
I've seen her hit him. I've never seen him hit her.
Officers say there was
Oh. Let me hold up. I gotta roll that back. Just a tiny bit.
a struggle before Obumseli, one person inside their Miami apartment. The friends were left speechless.
Nosebleed seats, by the way, guys. Nosebleed seats. Here we go.
They portray a very violent relationship at the hands of only one person.
Who could that
I've
be?
seen her hit him. I've never seen him hit her.
Officers say there was a struggle before Obumseli was stabbed in the shoulder. He died at the hospital. Investigators are still trying to figure out what happened and if Clenney acted in self-defense.
From what we've personally experienced between the both of them, we believe that Christian wouldn't put her in a position where she would need to stab him to protect herself.
My. Isn't it funny how the tables turn? You like what I did there? Everyone's thinking we're going down this one road, and then all of a sudden, it goes off to the left. Woo! Because we all thought it was going to be him be the one getting all Ike Turner up in this biznai. But guess what? It's the other way around. She's the one who is putting paws on him all the time. And let me say this really quick before we go on to this. You'd be very surprised how many men are actually being the victim in these situations. But then when 5-0 walks into a room, suddenly they instantly lean to the woman because the woman's the one that's crying and the dude's sitting there like mad as hell. You know what I'm saying? Mad as hell. Going, she put her hands on me, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, hold on, sir. Now you're getting aggressive. And they arrest his ass instead of the girl. It is real. Abuse from women in relationships between men and women do actually exist. The only reason that it isn't out there that much is because men don't talk about it because they think it is extremely emasculating to sit there and say, yeah, my girl does this, that, and the third. And we talked about this on the show before. And look at this now. She has her friends. They're also white. Her white friends that are saying that she's the one who would put her paws on him, not the other way around. But everybody, including myself, when I first read this story, automatically thought that he was the one that was putting his paws on her. Like I said, interesting how the tables turn when you get a little piece when you get a little piece of information like that one. Let's continue.
One neighbor who tells me that he has a very clear view of the couple's apartment said a week before the stabbing, things were off and that Clenney was the one getting physically abused.
I could not tell if it was open-handed or closed-handed, but he was swinging at her.
Police say in the past 3 months, they've responded that Clenney was the one getting physically.
Christian wouldn't put her in a position where she would need to stab him to protect herself.
One neighbor who tells me that he has a very clear view of the couple's apartment said a week before the stabbing, things were off and that Clenney was the one getting physically abused.
I could not tell if it was open-handed or closed-handed, but he was swinging at her.
Police say in the past 3 months, they've responded to multiple disturbance calls at the couple's apartment. Their mutual friends are still trying to process what went wrong.
Okay. It sounds like they brought a language of violence into their relationship. Real talk. It could very well be a situation where, hey, maybe she was the first to incorporate some love taps, if you get what I'm saying. And then he said, "Oh, if that's our love language, then I'm going to do the two." And I don't condone that behavior at all whatsoever. You should never be able to do that. Period. Okay? You should never do that to people. Never put your hands on somebody, because eventually that person is going to either hit back, or that person is going to retaliate to a moment where it gets deadly, where it gets violent, where it gets hurt, where it gets where people get hurt. Think about Gabby Petito for a second. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but think about it. In my theories, when they got pulled over in Moab, Utah, okay, and the cops were asking him stuff, and she was hitting him in the car, and that's why the car swerved and all that stuff. Real talk, y'all. There was a language of violence that was brought into that relationship. They were both hurting each other. They were both doing terrible things. They were both toxic in that relationship and incorporating something that should not have been incorporated in that relationship. Now we can click over and drag that same situation of what I'm saying over to this couple right here. Sure, I'm sure, he was doing everything he could to be with her. I'm sure she was doing everything she can be with to do. She was doing everything she could do to be with him too. But at the same time, some of these guys out here, I know I'm going down a different route here, but hey, some guys out here put some women on this pedestal, and the women like it, and then they start to treat the man like they're a little minion, to the point where there's violence, or they're verbally abusive, so on and so forth. But it doesn't matter. I'm just throwing out the theories. But the fact that this literally has been put in this language of violence has been put into the relationship, and then it escalates. It just escalates. It grows. You put that seed in there and it grows. And a lot of times it grows like wildfire. It gets crazy. And then people get hurt or they die. And that's the thing. That's the sad part about all this. A language was brought into this relationship, and they allowed it to stay in there because whatever it might be. Maybe he thought he could never do any better than this OnlyFans model. And maybe she thought that she could never do any better finding a man that praises her. Maybe. I don't know. Right? This is all speculation. This is all theory. But the one thing that should not have happened from the jump is the integration of violence in that relationship. Let's continue.
Even though that we really lost Christian only, it feels like we also lost Courtney at the same time, because we didn't think that this is as far as it would have gone.
And following the stabbing, Clenney was detained. She was brought here to the police department for questioning. And during that process, she was threatening to kill herself. So officers took her to the hospital where she was Baker acted. As it stands at this moment, she has not been charged. That's the latest here from Miami. Sinella Sabovic, Local.
Okay. So she was screaming, "I'm going to Sean Kingston myself." That's what she was doing. And if you don't get the Sean Kingston thing, he had a very popular song, really, really popular song. And if you don't know the song, just Google it and you'll get what my code word is, okay? But she said, "I'm going to Sean Kingston myself." Verbatim, she said that. Why? We don't know. Either she said it because she can't believe she did what she did, because the anger and the violence escalated to a point where she ends up having a knife in her hand and doing something unthinkable in a fit of rage. Or she's literally trying to save her own ass and trying to claim insanity, that she was temporarily insane at that particular moment, which is something that people use as an excuse so that they don't get heavier charges. So this situation is very, very sad. because I love seeing all kinds of people fall in love. I love seeing people happy. I love love just like anybody else. You know, you want to, I want everyone to live long and prosper. You know what I mean? Spock up in this biznae. I want people to be happy. And if you know, and whoever you love, I don't care. Just love. Exude and be an example of love in your relationships, in your friendships, and how you approach other people in this world. Approach with love. But when you start bringing in violence into your relationship as a couple, as soon as that is introduced, for me, once it's introduced, there's no turning back. Because as soon as you have that, it's like that whole thing of like somebody sits there and says, don't ever, like in a marriage, don't ever throw out the word divorce in a marriage. Never bring it out, because the thing is that as soon as you do that, now you opened up a can of worms that shouldn't have been there. If you really want to work it out with your loved one, with your spouse, with your partner, you don't sit there and say separation or divorce. You don't say the D or the S word. You don't say those things, because now you've incorporated something. Now you've incorporated something that didn't even need to be incorporated into the relationship if you want to stay with that person. So the same thing, if you truly love that person, if you truly are with that person and care for that person, you don't put your hands on that person. Why? Then resentment comes in. Like I said, it's a seed. And it slowly grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just takes over the toxicity of that takes over the entire relationship. And the next thing you know, you have a knife in your chest and you have somebody crying over you covered in blood because they're the one who inflicted that stab wound in your chest. It all started from the moment that either side decided to put their hands on their loved one. That's where the mistakes started. And however long they've been together, literally, however long they've been together, this seed has just been growing and getting more and more vicious and violent. And they keep allowing, because, you know, as soon as you hit, like as soon as that person does violence on the partner, that partner takes it and absorbs that energy. And then they hold it for the next fight that you have. Then you have that fight and then they retaliate and they hit you. And then this keeps going back and forth to the point where it gets extremely, extremely violent and someone dies. Or someone ends up in jail. And no matter what, even as you're sitting there trying to go, well, she did it. She started, and no one's listening anymore. No one gives a damn. They don't care about it anymore. They don't. They're like, we don't care who started it. You got caught doing this. You shouldn't have put your hands on her or vice versa. That's why your ass is in jail now. So with this, that's why I wanted to bring it up to you guys. Because, yes, I understand there's some people out here that feel about that have some thoughts about the fact that he tweeted what he tweeted. And, yes, I don't agree with what he said. And we already talked about that. But I also think that what he said was kind of ironic. It's very ironic. He'll sit there and he'll dog the other, his own race, but then as soon as he finds his one and only, he puts her on a pedestal, and next thing you know, he's dead because of the woman that he put on a pedestal. It's sad. It's very, very sad and extremely ironic. But outside of interracial dating, if they were the same race, it doesn't matter. If they were a gay couple, it doesn't matter. Violence is never the right thing to incorporate into any relationship. And if you are, I'm going to say this too, if you are in a relationship that's getting volatile, that's getting toxic, God forbid, getting violent physically, get out. I'm telling you right now, get out. Because trust me, you'll thank me later. You're better off in being with somebody or being around people that love you, that have your back, that will embrace you with hugs and kisses and support, not punches and chokes and body throws and bruises all over your body. So this is the reason why I wanted to bring this up to you guys. I wanted to talk to you guys about this because we need to be more aware of our surroundings, not only just within ourselves and the surroundings that we have on the outside world. It's also what's going on inside of our world, in our home, in our private domiciles, in our little bubbles that we live in. A lot of us don't see the forest through the trees. And I'm saying this right now. If you are just letting this person hurt you, if you're letting these people do these terrible things to you, I say don't take it anymore. Leave. Don't hurt nobody. Just get up and leave. Call your friends, call your parents, call whoever you need to call, and go.
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.